Let's talk about the different functions and what they do and what's required. And then when you get into six gives the parts and the estimated cost. This is about 5 years old, so it's low. Sorry to tell. And then it starts in with the planning aids. So we'll just start at the top. The first one is this 6-foot drill, it's the tie drill. If you look around, you might get one used. It works really well. The top right is the earthway seeder. And again, I have a publication that recommends what plates to use for cover crop. The bottom is a broadcast system where you spread it out with the broadcast system. Getting late. And then there's a farmer in Virginia that uses a rototiller and real shallow, incorporates the seed, and has had good luck. But if you plant big seeds on top of the soil and expect it to germinate, good luck. Probably won't happen. You need to be incorporated. So turn the page. This is taking care of the residues. This is a flail mower. If you ever think about to afford a flail mower, it's a fantastic piece of equipment. You can both mow and roll with that piece of equipment. On the bottom right, on page 8, is this roller crimper that you saw on the truck. On page 9, there's my no-till planter that we've used. There's about 20 or 30 of those commercially that are out in the world. The man that makes them has cancer, so I'm looking for a new manufacturer. So it shows how this planter will plant right through that residue without leaving a big space. At the bottom right is an instrument I like. It's a multivator, so that you can use that to till your row zone areas. Your traffic zone areas. I told you I'm going to go through this fast. And on page 10 are some of my simple planting aids. See, if you just look at that top left, that's simply a toolbar, a coulter, and a shank. So if you want to try no-till simply, you can do that and then plant by hand. If you're a small gardener like Alex Hick, that's exactly what he did. He saw one of my seminars, he went home and built it himself. He uses it all the time. The bottom shows a 2-row, same thing. The top is a fancier system. It's very similar, but it just has more components. With this, you could put a row cleaner in back and leave a little space so you could plant seeds. And then lastly, I have this picture of my compost applicator. So that's, if you look at it on the bottom left, that shows the fertilizer in there. Oh, both the bottom pictures show the fertilizer on the top, not the fertilizer, the compost. So, again, the PowerPoint would have showed all of this thing, but I don't have it. Is there any question, burning question you have? Because Matt has a couple of small videos on the cover crops, right? There's at least 3 burning questions.
Well, I wanted to ask you about, I've seen your YouTube video about your no-till potatoes, and I was wondering about not killing them, because I assume you can't till if you're doing no-till, and then you ever get green shoulders on your potatoes in that system.
What she's talking about, I have a 12-page publication on no-till potatoes. I did no-till potato research for about 5 years. When I first started no-till potatoes, I thought it was insane to even try it. I didn't think it would work, but that's my personality. I take anything and give it a try. And that's why people said, Ron Morse, all these things it's impossible, you know? And so that's a challenge that I like. So what happened is when I found out that actually it works pretty good by doing it on a small plot, I do it on pre-formed raised beds. That's the key. Then you plant your cover crop, and then you plant your seed tuber about 5 inches deep, and it works very well. I did research where I compared using raised beds with that system versus the flat. The flat was about 35% less yield. So it's that big a difference. So if you start with pre-formed raised beds, it works like a charm. You can take one of these planting aids and open up the soil and put your tuber right in that. I know because I've done it. And so it works really well. And you'd be surprised if you have thick cover crops, how much weed control and moisture conservation, which this year you didn't want, but in a normal year, right? Moisture conservation, what's that? But it really works. Pre-formed raised beds, plant a thick cover crop, especially on the blue base cover crop. Knock it down, and then use one of those planting aids, and it works really well.
One little addendum to that. John Nelson worried me not to do it because he had the experience, but I thought I know better. And so he said that they had put chard grow on the seed potatoes and put it in the ground and just ate the sweet seed. I thought, okay, I'll just make sure that there's soil without chard growth between the seed potato and the chard grow. So we kind of cover the potatoes and sprinkle a little chard grow on top of it. As the roots come up, they'll be able to grow on it. 78% of them gone. Chard grow is just too strong, and other charcoal combinations might be too. That's just a lot of life, but there's that cut potato with all that nutrient, and it just takes it out.
Just consumes the seed potato.
Yep, takes it away.
Yeah. So I didn't get it. So it worked well, or
No, it didn't work at all.
Yeah, we remember there was one year where we put it on potatoes and we thought it was too deep, right? And then the next year you said, what? It's kind of like sticking the potato anyway. And I said, well, you can probably go with like a really light bacterial food, molasses type thing. And we think we overdid it. We think we gave it so much food. Because it's not a very good stand. I'm like, they ate it.
Oh, we didn't have a lot of food, we still had it.
okay, there's one answer. There's two more yet.
Okay, so you've had your test garden or whatever for a number of years. I'm just wondering what the sort of breakdown of inputs that go in there. Like, do you still lime? Do you still have to add phosphorus and stuff like that? Or
Oh, I love that question. Let me tell you, we have these plots, and I started the permanent no-till systems there, no-till beds with
Right.
cover crops in, I think, 1997. And about 8 years later, and that's adding a lot of cover crops, never tilling, maybe once every 3 years, till shallow, and maybe a little compost. I planted sweet corn. If you know anything about sweet corn, it takes a lot of nitrogen. Commercially, they recommend up to 150 pounds of nitrogen per acre.
It would be nice to hear from you a step-by-step summary of taking native ground. It was just grass for a few years and you want to cultivate it into gardening. What would you do as far as incorporating your system in it? And then maybe later or not tonight.
I'll tell you what, how about 5 minutes? And then maybe that'll be my swan song, all right? Here's what I've done and recommend. If you have a problem, and you've got to have vegetable crops the first year, in other words, to survive financially, I would use plastic in my grow zones, for sure. Because if you're taking a field that has a lot of biomass weeds, right? A lot of weeds grow, it may have a pretty good amount of organic matter. So if you can till in a strip, a zone, and then put that plastic, like I got that plastic on the sheet, you can crop the first year. What in the traffic zone, you're gonna have to keep mowed or tilled, right? At least you can survive. Now, if you can somehow not a certain field, or you can rotate crops like the people in Pennsylvania, the Ordells, then I would go to this system of taking at least 18 months, preferably 24, and use a combination of stale seed bed and constant cover crops. In other words, if it's not in stale seed bed, it's in a cover crop. And I don't mean after the stale seed bed system to think about cover crops for 4 weeks. You put it in immediately. In fact, I read an article just before coming here in American Vegetable Grower. It was talking about controlling perennial weeds. Here's what the first thing that this weed control specialist said is immediately after you have harvested your last vegetable, take down those vegetable plants and seed a cover crop immediately. Or at least mow the weeds so they don't produce weed seeds. And what I've seen too much is that you get a little too busy, and so your tomatoes are finally finished, but you don't take care of that plot for another month. In the meantime, you have pigweed growing what? 10 feet high with about 2 trillion seeds in them. And have you ever seen how many seeds is in a pigweed when it gets about 6 feet high? It's some astronomical amount. It really is a huge amount that one big pigweed plant can produce.
See, Rob, I would amend that by saying, think about undersowing. Those tomatoes, when they are like starting to finish out,
Good idea.
there's no problem undersowing. And then you're way ahead of the weeds. The cover crop is, you have your cover crop in sometime in August.
What kind of undersowing would you suggest? What would you suggest for undersowing it?
All the cover crops he's talking about for this time of year, rye, vetch, if you don't need to get in early, it's the best soil builder. Barley, crimson clover.
You can do the perennials, the red clover, white clover, and all that stuff.
And actually yellow clover too. If you're gonna take a good while to get in there, the yellow clover will really go down there deep. You can give up that bed till late summer the next year. That yellow clover will do major work for you.
Whatever you do, mow. If you can't get in and till and take care of that plot, mow. And if you got an understory, well, mow it high. Mow it this high so you don't mow the.
Keep the weeds out.
Yeah, you got to keep those weeds from producing weed seed.
The good news is if you undersow, the weeds don't get much of a chance. If you just get in there and undersow, you might have to cultivate or something to get a way to do it. But if you have an open enough space to get a crop established, it really puts a hurt on the weeds.
I have a publication on that.
One more quickie, if you don't mind. A lot of the cover crops that you mentioned so far, and you just mentioned some more perennial or biennial ones. What were annuals? So what about using more perennial sod type crops in this strip tillage system, like an alfalfa or
Yeah, I like
a
that a lot.
white clover or something?
I cut or follow quite often the Nordell system.
Yeah.
And so what I'll do, after I take off my vegetable crop, I will then plant, my favorite is red clover. I love red clover. The reason I like red clover, if you mow it about this high, don't mow it real low, you may kill it. If you mow it this high, it stands mowing. And also, you take care of a lot of those weeds from going to seed. So I've had some beautiful pure stands of red clover in my grow zones.
Yeah.
And then, man, after I till that in, I can grow anything. So I really like red clover. I've tried all of them. What about you, Pat? What do you like?
I like red clover a lot. I like white clover for paths. I don't want to. I don't want to have to mow it as often. It's not too invasive. We oftentimes sow white clover in our pathways. As far as perennials go, biennials is the yellow clover. A real interesting article, which I can't get my fingers back on, is using false indigo and growing that and using it for biomass and to accumulate. So they're growing these kind of windrows, or kind of like windbreaks of false indigo, and just letting it be there for like a long time. Then they would eventually come back in and work it. But they're building lots of, it has a big fibrous root system, it's really building the soil. Years ago I gave cover crop talk, I talked about Jerusalem artichokes as a cover crop. And I mean, the reason is, it's got incredible fibrous root systems, and it really, you go back in a Jerusalem artichoke patch after a while, the soil is really, really nice.
Boy, it's a horrific weed though.
The solution is that, $4 a pound.
Okay.
$4 a pound is a really
I'm
good
just saying,
solution.
we had, here's a quick story. I can tell quick stories. We had these researchers had this bright idea that they take an acre of my vegetable land to grow Jerusalem artichoke. 8 years later, I'm still having artichoke fields. I tell you, and that's after well.
Yeah, no,
It's a good crop. You have to control it.
you totally have to control it, yeah. I have gotten rid of it in places. I've had to actually die on its own too. Long enough fixed, like, you know, kind of pasture thing, you're mowing it, you can't compete. But, yeah, it could be, it was actually an example of extreme, but also thinking outside the box, thinking about the different plants that can do it. Pay attention when you look at all of your plants, right? Look at how the soil is when you're done with that. Because there are lots of plants we don't, one of the ones I love, is Franklin's still playing with it, is purslane, is an undersowing.
No.
But that's, purslane's noted by a lot of people for the good things it does for the soil. Pardon?
I had lots of it growing in my field.
Yeah.
It's like it's so delicious.
Remember, it's a weed.
Oh, it's totally a weed, yeah. All those kind of unusual ones, do small areas and learn and see if it works. And don't go out and do your whole farm to purslane and come talk to me about it. You know. Double that on the Jerusalem artichokes. Just try a little area and see what happens.
Okay, this is the last one here.
Okay, you said your traffic zones, you plant rye, you keep it mowed, wheat. Is that annual, so you plant that every
Well,
year?
what I do is the wheat I plant in the springtime, not in the fall. And plant it thick, and it will come up fast, cover the soil, and basically keep the weed down all year. And if it gets too high, for whatever reason, then you can mow it.
So winter kills,
The next year,
I mean, if it dies over the winter and you just replant into the same,
the winter wheat, it's winter wheat that you plant in a freshly tilled area in the spring, not in the fall. Your winter wheat you plant in the fall, right?
right.
Take winter wheat and plant in March or April. It'll make a perfect lawn and take care of the weeds in the tropic zone.
So do you have to, how do you get the next spring to grow again if you run over your tractor over it all year?
Well, it'll kind of wear out after a while. It'll only last 1 year. It's not permanent.
So then you gotta replant in the spring again.
Yeah, that's right.
How do you get the seed? Do you drill the seed in, so how do you get the seed?
I have this multivator. A lot of times I just run that over there and then put the seed. And also I have a drill, remember that?
Yeah. Okay.
Most of you folks don't know.
See, if you had that spring hammer and put cultivator feet on it, you can straddle your beds, you can just go through and loosen it up with that, and then sow it, and then walk on it or something, and probably fine.
Bats.
Yeah.
Okay?
You can get any number of sweeps. You get one that's the size of your bed. Just go right real shallow, and just loosen the heck out of it, and sow your seeds.
And what I like about seeing the water sitting there, if that ever becomes a problem, and it's too much water and it just won't drain, we can run a shank down there. But what I like about it is that on top of the beds, unless you have too much water sitting in the tropic zone, you have tremendous capacity to grow crops. And then if you use drip irrigation on top, to me it's the ultimate system. Raised beds with drip irrigation. The reason is, raised beds if you have too much water, drip irrigation if you have insufficient. So raised beds with drip, that's what I have in my research farm. And we just had a field day, and there was a person there that was working in entomology. They asked her to talk about insects. That's all she could talk about is the irrigation system. She raved and raved about the irrigation system. I can't show it here, but if you fertigate through that drip line, which means that you inject fertilizer, it's the most efficient application of fertilizer, I think, in the world. So really make it next. This is just another close-up. Next. This is a lot of stuff, and let's keep going until we get to the clip. This is an example. This is a farmscape, and these are twin rows of broccoli. These are organic no-till. And we got 10,000 pounds of broccoli per acre. Look at the size of those plants. That was all done with integrated application of nitrogen. Some from the cover crop, some from at planting. We applied granular in the row, and we also added fish emulsion with each transplant, and then we fertigated with fish emulsion and sodium nitrate. And look at the size of those. Sometimes we can get it so that plant is about 3 feet high, and the average head size was a pound. Now that's with integrated nitrogen systems. It isn't just compost. It isn't just. It was, I think, 4 different sources.
Ron, quick question, slightly off topic. Do you know what percentage of the farm is in farmscaping?
Oh, in Kentland?
In farmscaping? What percentage of your farm is in farmscaping?
Not much, but in my plots about 20%.
I'm a novice here. Somebody define farmscaping for
I
me,
will after the
please.
class unless
Thank you.
That's right.
I'll be glad to tell you all.
Okay, thank
Try
you.
to stop it.
Okay.
Bunch of flowers that make all the
Here's
bugs
story
come.
I told
Well,
you about this.
I can do that.
This,
That's it.
these beds have been here, I think, 8-10 years. And this is the corn that was growing with only 50 pounds of nitrogen. And it got really high and fantastic yields. Keep going. Keep going. This is the drill we use. 10 different, what do you call it, plates. And it works really well. Again, this is the traffic zone here. It would be rye generally, and here would be legume rye, or this is a fall. If it was summer, we just planted some stuff, and it was Japanese millet and cowpea. It was really good. Next. And this is the infamous earthway seeder. And
Ron, a question on Japanese millet. Is that like pearl millet? Does it get big?
not as big. I'm just learning to grow Japanese millet. That's one thing I haven't grown. Next. This is a way, and I showed this in the pit. Keep going. This is broadcast, and he ran this rototiller. You can run all kinds of things. Just a wire, piece of wire mesh, you can pull it across there. It depends on how hard it is. Okay, it's okay. This is what I call a good cover crop. See, this is the top. This is the traffic zone. And can you see many spaces there? Not many. And in the row is a good stand. This is 7 inches between. Give that plot there another 2 weeks. It'll be entirely filled in. You wouldn't see the soil. That's what I call a good cover crop. Next. This is rye and vetch. I think. Yeah. Okay. This is being rolled. Next. This is triticale being rolled. Does a fantastic job with triticale. I like triticale. It stands erect better than rye, and it rolls fantastic. Next. And here's showing. This was triticale flail mode, but that is probably about 5 inches thick right there. This was probably around 8,000 pounds of dry matter.
Is it any easier to kill in a cold, wet spring?
I'm not sure about that, but I do like triticale. Next. This is rye and vetch, and this is flail mowing it. Next. This is rolling it. So there's the difference. Okay, remember I told you, if you roll it like that, you wouldn't kill the vetch, but you give it 10 days and those flowers would emerge as high as 6 inches, and then you go in and mow it, and you can kill that way. That works really well. If you have time. Sometimes you don't have time to do it that way. Next. Keep going. This is just showing this is a chisel plow. I like it to loosen the soil. Next. Okay, this is the compost applicator. As you can see, that's probably working at, I would say, about a foot or more. Next. This is just a rototiller tilling in some cabbage beds. Next. Keep going. Keep going. This is a stand of alfalfa. We were just trying to renovate these plots. They had been let go for so long and a terrible amount of weeds. So this is another way to do it. This alfalfa was there about 3 or 4 years, and we kept it mowed, and I'm sure we got rid of a lot of weed seeds. It's a great crop to increase the depth of the grow zone. I mean of the soil, effective soil profile. Next. This is forage radish that actually survived the winter and flowered in the spring. Wasn't supposed to do that. Next. And this is, of course, everyone's favorite. This is buckwheat. The only problem with buckwheat is that it will flower quickly and produce viable wheat seeds. So you have to be careful. One trick that we learned, if you'll mow it about 8 inches high, it will send up new shoots and reflower that way. So that we learned that trick. Next. Keep going. All right, this is an example of some experiments we used. This is a farmscape, and this is soybean with a little bit of foxtail millet. And this is pure stand of foxtail millet. So this is the grow zone. This is the traffic zone. And next, I'll show you the whole. This is just another thing of farmscape. Keep going. Oh, this is another farmscape that works really well. This is a pea, I forget the type. And this is buckwheat. And the reason I don't mix them is then I could come in and mow that so it wouldn't grow seed on it. And here we got 4 different beds of broccoli. The idea then is that this would attract beneficial insects and help control the insects. And we have shown that it does work pretty well. Next. This is a farmscape that's getting mature, but this is peppers. This is ryegrass we grew in the traffic zone, and then we just mowed it. Next. This is a stand of, I think, rye. I'm not sure what, but notice how thick. Notice how even it's not too high, and it's starting to fill in with all the different side shoots and stuff. Next. Go back one if you can. Yeah, this is I think triticale, and this is just growing in the traffic zone. Next. And so in the grow zone, we planted onions and different other crops, and then we just kept this mowed. And it worked really well. That triticale, in this case, kept the weeds out. We just kept it mowed. Next. All right, this is a bed maker that we made out of old materials we had around Kelman. And so, let's see if it's got, next, see if there's not close up. Yeah. So here's 2 sets of a big coulter disc, and this is an old cultipacker thing we found, and we just put that back in. So that makes a nice high bed, and then it's flat on top. So that's what we did. We actually made that out of scrap. Next. And so this is another way we're throwing this up. Next. Followed up by a rototiller. So we've got this high bed, and then we rototilled so we had a flat on top. Now, this takes, big tractors and big equipment. So a small farmer couldn't do this. Next. And this is again my drilling cover crops. Next. This is a roller crimper working. It does a good job, but with that you have to have a little patience. Next. This is show it rolling. I think it's rye. It's a real good job. This is soybean and that we flail mowed. Next. And then this is the transplanter. So this is a 2-row transplanter that we invented. And this is putting the plants in. Now this was not in a thick cover. So as you can see, there's not a lot of cover, but it works just as well in a thick cover. Next. Well, okay, maybe that was just a section where it didn't have a lot of residue. That's what it looks like. So we laid dip tube at the same time. There's fertilizer hoppers up into this area, and we put fertilizer down in here. So this is broccoli, and so you put fertilizer at planting. This has a lot of soybean, provides nitrogen, and then we use this drip tape to fertigate, to irrigate, and then fertigate.
Ron, am I right that A&T, North Carolina A&T bought one of those from you?
Yeah.
I think that actually if you give them notice that it's possible to get them to bring it to your extension office and get to use one.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They sure did. Next. This is the multivator. What's nice about this, it slides along this bar here. So, and this one's 9 inches wide. You can get them as wide as, I think, 24 inches. So you can get them a little bit wider and they take care of your traffic zone.
And how much do they cost per unit?
I think the whole thing was about $3,000 or $4,000, probably more now. I've had it about 10 years.
Are these just mini tillers?
They're just mini tillers on a toolbar. They're sold in Ohio. I like them. They're probably a little pricey now. I would say $4,000 or $5,000, but it's a good investment if you have like a modest size farm. Next. These are some of the commercial strip tillers that are available. But they're big, as you can see. Upfront coulter, shank. This actually tills in a small area, and this end levels it out, so it looks really good. Next, see, that's what it looks like after it's gone through. But they're expensive, and it takes a big tractor.
How many horsepower do you have?
Someone else asked me would it take just 1 row. I would say it would take at least 40. Next. And this is, okay, this is getting into my planting aids. This is a 2-row planting aid. It's simply a toolbar with this coulter shank combination. And I can also take those shanks off right there and put another wavy coulter. And that would till just a real narrow area, and then you could take a earthway seeder and actually seed in there in a no-till situation. Next. This is showing it here, but this is with the shank. Next. This was actually in North Carolina, and that tractor there, what, 25 horsepower? This was at with Richard McDonald. I forget the university. It's close to him where he lives. But that's a pure standard veg, and you got this strip till the planting aid. You got the coulter and shank, and it's doing a great job. We just went in there and planted cabbage in there. It worked okay. Next. This is an example where you can have a shank and a coulter.
So Ron, on that last picture, you were going into green.
That's right. I think it would be mowed, flail mowed. That's how.
Okay, so it actually is pretty much that.
Yeah, it got it, I think. Next. See, it's just a simple toolbar, and a coulter and shank, and it really works. Be sure and get the combination, because if you just get a coulter and then on a separate toolbar over here you have this shank, well, you're going to have to put a ton of weight up here. This is engineered to pull itself into the ground. If you have these separate on a toolbar, if this was on a toolbar and then that was on a toolbar, good luck. You better have a lot of weight on there to make it work. And how I discovered this is when I first invented my no-till transplanter. I had that system, and it wouldn't go on the ground. And once I discovered this combination that literally pulls itself on the ground, then it really worked well. Okay. Again, you're just substituting the shank for a wavy coulter, and then this will leave this a little mini strip you could go in there and see. Next. Just a simple 2-row. Next. This is a situation where you could put a trash clearing device behind the coulter, and they would till out a whole strip like that, and you could dry seed. Next. This is the compost applicator. Next. And this is the exact thing that you saw on the. So it's big and it's costly, but it does work. And again, we're going to make a small version of it.
We are, absolutely.
I
Next
like
summer, field day. Dry weather?
Okay, next, I think we're about done. This shows you it's going pretty deep here. Next. Okay. Now this is not a very good photo. It's kind of washed out. Show the next one. Now this shows it where it's dumping it on the top. And and what's neat about this machine is the rate is not just determined by how fast you go. It's run by hydraulics. So you can go at a different speed and then run the hydraulics at a different speed, and you can put anywhere between probably 500 pounds and 5,000 pounds to the acre with this same machine. That's why I like that combination. You know, hydraulics and then how fast you go. Whereas if it's ground driven, well, it's all one thing. But I really like this. And I think we calculated this, it may not look like much, but that's probably around 3,000 or 4,000 pounds to the acre. And it's right, then we go in and plant the property right there. So it's very efficient. Yes. This shows you a quote. This is the man that built it for me. Jerry Stump, really super guy. Next. Next. Oh, this is the plastic lathe machine. So, see, that's how it works. And in these pictures, I don't show the upfront portion, but you've seen it out there. So see, these are my raised beds, and I did till the top. There's a little green stuff that would grow down there during the year. These two coulters with the metal wrapped around it pushes that straight down into the ground. It's probably in there 5 inches. And the only thing that we want to do is mount a couple of, not coulters, but discs, and they'll kind of throw the soil a little bit back in here. Okay, next, I think we're about done. That's a real good close-up. You can see it. I'm just telling you, this compared to the other plastic lathe machines where all of this would be destroyed. You'd have to come in here with big pieces of disc, and it throws it. It's totally destroy that shoulder.
So the extra coulters you're going to add on, what's it going to do?
It would just throw a little soil from here into here. Because once in a while, every machine is what I've ever seen is not perfect, and sometimes if you get into maybe a little dip here and there, this would be partially exposed. And so if you just had just a little, even a tire at an angle, just push this soil a little bit into there. Not a big tire about 4 inches wide might be better than that.
Because they press it a little too.
It press it a little bit. And it's simply mounted. It's a simple thing. It's just when you get busy, you have lots of excuses.
Is it harder to take that up in the other stuff?
No, what we do, we run a blade under there and it loosens it and we pull it right out. Next. That's how it looked before we run the plastic pen machine. Okay. Yeah. Oh, and the birds love to walk along there. And that wasn't markers where we put the plants. That was some bird. Next. That's showing how deep, that's what, 16 inches right there, how deep that shank was going. Now this is not This is not for the plastic laying machine, it's for the compost. Next. Oh, and lastly, we bought an old manure spreader and took off the big spinners, and now we can just drop compost. This is actually composted manure right on top of the bed. Notice we're not putting any in the traffic zones. Why?
So you took the beaters off, or
Yeah,
whatever this.
because it would throw it all over.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
just took the top beaters and just fell right down.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. It cost $500 and a bunch of red paint, and that's what it did. Yes. Yeah, there it is, the size. You see it falling down here? And you could probably find these some in someone's junkyard, you know? And that's what we did, and we, luckily the one we bought, the tires were so good. So next. This is an example of this system. This is the red clover growing, and this is this combination of perennial ryegrass and creeping mephistophely. And this traffic zone had been in there probably for 3 or 4 years, and so there really weren't many weeds there. Kept digging up the weeds and mowing. But that's a nice stand of clover, and after that we planted broccoli in there after we tilled that in. You should have seen that broccoli. I've never seen better broccoli. Next. And this is alfalfa. We compared 3 different. This is red clover. I forgot pig. This is alfalfa. This is the companion grass before we mowed it. But see, then you till that in and plant. You can really produce some good stuff. Next. This is alfalfa again, red clover, and this might be white clover. It is. Next. And this is the broccoli that's next. Next. That particular broccoli was probably 1.5 pounds right there. Now they all weren't 1.5 pounds. I'm just saying that this is without, we put a little bit of nitrogen in that planting just to get the transplants going. All of that nitrogen to produce that fantastic head of broccoli came from cover crops. Next, I think we're about to, yeah. That doesn't show it, but that plant is probably 3.5 feet tall. Look at the size of those leaves. That's from organic fertilizer.
And Ryan, basically your farmscape takes care of your cabbage worms, right?
Yep. Yes. I'm not sure, what does that say? Yeah, build healthy soils. Soil organic matter is at the heart of soil fertility for organic farmers. SOM influences almost all soil properties. I think that's it. Oh, I gotta finish with this one. A famous entomologist published this. He said, many little hammers. It's the ecological management of crop-feed interactions. Synergy, my favorite word. And so what he did, and he had a long series of publications where he compared many different types of controlling weeds, and what was best was where he combined different things. And that was mainly without chemicals, combined different methods of doing it culturally. I think that's it. Okay. That's all. Okay, thank you very much. I'm out of gas.
So we do have 2 videos which will show you a whole array of cover crops. Okay, that's Sudex in flower, buckwheat mixed in, or some biodiversity.
And then you can zoom
This
in.
year, same crops, about that tall and yellow. Okay, the next one is sun hemp or crotalaria. It's an amazing legume. It turns out it doesn't fix a lot of nitrogen, but boy, are its nodules used. What's really incredible about it is the fibrous lignous stalks. So if you're looking to just build organic matter that's going to last a long time, have carbon that's going to be around for a long time, that's what's amazing about it. Okay, you can get a better shot of the crotalaria behind there. It's incredibly tall, big pea flowers on it. Just keep zooming.
You can see this whole thing on the website. There's over 60 hours of educational videos on
We've used
there.
that, by the way, to kill a cover crop. It's just the only thing we have, and it does a pretty good job. There's the Crotalaria in the Sudex. It's one of the few things they say that can compete with Sudex, but I find the cowpeas do great. And they're not listed as being... Crotalaria and Suspania are the two that are considered the best. Crotalaria is also known as sun help, and it is technically illegal. If you're growing near a place where somebody's cows gets out, don't grow it, you'll get in trouble. Because the cows can eat it, it is toxic. Okay, this is cowpeas. Or actually, I think that might be... Stop it for a second. Can you back up for a moment? Just a little bit? No, not quite that much.
Just grab the little nodule, move it forward.
It doesn't let me click the actual spot.
Okay. That's cowpeas in the Crotalaria there, but the field is just much more heavily in that. That's Lab. Lab is also, it's a non-ornamental version of purple hyacinth bean. And what it's really noted for is if you want to be sure you have allelopathy, it's very good for it. You know, so if you work that in, you can come back. It's not like Sudex, so your plants won't die, but you can then plant, and nothing else is going to grow seed-wise for several weeks to a month or two. So it's pretty effective. And you can see it really covers up. Most years, this year it's amazing how it did. It was bigger seed. We couldn't cover it. Slow to germinate. There's tons of grass in between them. The difference is night and day. Here, it's really suppressing everything. This year, it's a loser. So it's all got to do with the weather. Keep going.
So what's your seed source, Pat?
Okay, my seed source is one that I'm incredibly frustrated with right now. I really was recommending them, and they sent me flyers, and they're just not even going to hand them out because this name of it is Kaufman seed, and they used to be really good. You just have to give it to them backwards and forwards and over again. Say you're going to pay every cent, and I'm still going to give badmouth you if I get treated seed. This year I got 4 bags, only 1 was usable, and I told them I didn't want treated seed. And the drag is now they kind of tape the treated seed part to the back of their label. So I open the darn things up before I knew they're treated. And then I found out, I watched for it, but then somebody else opened the other ones up, so all 3 had to get mailed back to them at a cost of $145 on their tab, open. Just totally frustrating. You have a good source, right, Joe?
What's the name of it? Yes, I can't think of the
Can
name.
you email it to
Yeah.
Lisa?
It may come to me.
And she'll post it?
Walter Seed Company.
Walter Seed Company in there in Florida?
No, they're not the Florida one. Walter's up in the Midwest. What's the Florida one? I'll email it to you.
Okay. But Walter's been pretty good about not being treated?
Yeah, they have a not treated section. I haven't ordered a lot from them, but the people in Florida have been real good.
And so the story of Kaufman, it was a new employee, I think he was somebody's son, it sounded like, and he just said, yeah, it's not treated. And he was amazed to find out it was treated when I called him up. He just couldn't understand why they treated seed that grows in warm soil, But his father was on the phone and said it's all about it not getting insects inside. That's why they treat it. So any of that seed can be treated. I've seen barley treated. They treat everything. Okay, that's the cowpeas in the Sudex. You saw it down there. It works really well. They say it doesn't work. I don't know why it works for us, but it does. I love the combination. It's really powerful.
I'll grab it.
All right. Yeah. I think we can just go to the next one. I think we've pretty much shown everything. That's right, clover, in case you didn't know.
Patrick, for a market gardener, small gardener, would you say broadcast or doing the earthway for your cover crop?
If the soil is well, so the earthway works good, it's going to be way more cost effective and probably a more reliable stand, especially if you're doing rounds, which I really love the idea of. Legumes in the grow zone,
Right.
grains in the walkway. I tried doing that by hand seeding, and there's a few spots where it's really embarrassing. How much Sudex is in the soybeans and how much soybeans are in the Sudex kind of thing, So, and I thought I was being really careful. I couldn't believe the difference, Of course, it might have been torrential rains moving it around too. It's pretty amazing how much the rains have affected our cover crops out there.
Oilseed radish.
Oilseed radish, yeah. And the whole story about that was we got a new greenhouse and there was a major mess up, and there was lots of equipment on the pad, and so it was really going to be compacted. So I wanted crops that were really going to open up that soil. So what we went with was rye. I'm saying the same things right now. Rye, Phacelia tanacetifolium. That's the unusual one, and Kaufman has that, and it's $12 a pound or something like that from Peaceful Valley Farm. It's about $2.40 from Kaufman. It's an amazing plant. There it is right there. It's an incredible insectivore. It's in the same family as borage and comfrey, so you know what kind of root system it's got, right? So it goes really deep. It also is one of the few non-legumes that's a nitrogen fixer.
What is it?
Phacelia tanacetifolium. Tansy leaf Phacelia.
Have to get that one later.
In Europe, they grow tons of it. You know, the biodynamic growers love the heck out of it. The bees totally love it. It's an incredible insectivore. Flowers are gorgeous. It'll winter kill. If you grow it outside, I mean, like the oilseed radish that live for around once in a while, it won't, but by and large, it'll winter kill. But you can protect it with row cover, probably take it pretty far, and then my secret trick there is to be mean to it one night when I want it to die, wait for a really cold night, take the row cover off, and wait. You can kind of assure that it dies. There you can see the mix of it. We did it two ways. We did grow zone, and we also did it mixed in. This stuff got really high, the roots got really huge. I know they went down deep. They did a pretty incredible job. I don't know if we've seen that. That might be able to look at that. That's the side where it was all done in sections. And then over on the other side, it's in. What's interesting is the side where we did the separate zones got way bigger than the side where we mixed them. Now that side there, it's all mixed together, and that did not get as big. I think it was just too much competition. If they really got to do it on their own and didn't, grow with their own kind or something, they just did better. And we got, everybody noticed it. I mean, both sides did darn well, but the side where we had grow zones with the Phacelia, and then the legume, the radish and the. Actually, I did the radish in with the Phacelia because it's not a legume, but it's real easy to kill. So part of the point of that is you're doing the legume in the grow zone to get nitrogen, but you're also doing it so that it's going to be easy to work that soil and plant in it. And the combination of the Phacelia and oilseed radish was really powerful. And then the rye was on the edges, on the sides of the beds, and in the walking zone. It worked very well. That's about it.
So